everyone, it's Maria here from Pebbley Rose Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to thank everyone that joined me yesterday on my YouTube Live. I kept calling it Facebook Live, but it was really just YouTube Live. I wanted to thank everybody that watched yesterday. I really appreciate it. And for those that watched my previous video as well, I am thrilled that you all loved that card with the deer. I quite like that one myself, so I'm so glad that you all did as well. And I'd like to thank all of my subscribers for watching and for supporting my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Yesterday during my YouTube Live, I made this beautiful tag using the Healing Hugs stamp set and the Tropical Chic stamp set for the thank you. And I really enjoyed making this, and also used the subtle dynamic embossing folder. So this is the tag we made yesterday, and I used crushed curry and grey granite. Beautiful colours, and I love the texture, and I think it shows up a lot better on this camera than it did on my phone camera. And you can see the texture, and I embossed both of these pieces of cardstock with the subtle embossing folder. So today I'm going to make the matching card that goes with this tag, and I also used this black cord, which I will try and incorporate in my card as well. I really loved making this with you all, and so today I'm going to make the matching card. With regards to my YouTube Live, I may not necessarily be doing that every week, just to let you know. Only because I feel, again, after doing yesterday's video, that the quality of the camera is very important, especially when you're seeing things like techniques. And I feel that it just shows up a lot better with my regular camcorder. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I may not necessarily do that every week, so just letting you know. So, but I will be doing a weekly tutorial, maybe 1 to 2 tutorials a week. We'll see how that goes as well, depending on the situation. I've got my kids both homesick today, and I'll be taking them to the doctors a little later on. So yeah, sometimes life just gets in the way of my crafting, but that's just the way it goes. So anyway, we'll get started on this card, and we'll be using the exact same you know, stamp sets and materials and everything as we did yesterday. So that's the Startled and Dynamic Embossing folder, the Tropical Chic, and the Healing Hug stamp sets. Alrighty, so I've got a piece, a grey granite card base. This is half an A6. I've cut it in half, and I scored it in half again, and I'm just going to burnish the score line. And I'll just grab my embossing folder. I'll just burnish that score line. It's lovely and burnished. And then I have a layering piece of Whisper White that goes over the top of that. With this piece, I am going to round the corners with my Detailed Trio Corner Punch. I love this thing. Really, really cool. So I'm just going to round all of the corners. And that one too. Oop, get in there. I'll do it this way. For some reason I can't get it the other way. Alright, so. Okay, and that rounded the corners very beautifully. So I'll just leave that to the side for a moment. I've got a strip of grey granite cardstock, and this is at about 3/4 of an inch wide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this across, and then I'll trim that off. So it can be whatever card base you wish it to be. So with this, I am going to get my Stamparatus. I tend to use that quite a bit lately, which is very surprising. But I love using it because I get accuracy, which is what I want. So I'll just get rid of these foam pieces. I'm just going to put my grey granite to the corner there, and I'm going to add the sentiment thank you again. So it coordinates very well with the tag, so I like continuity. So I'll just pop my sentiment, thank you, right near the edge, but not quite, just a little bit in. So I'll just try and square that up. And let's see now. And I will put the plate over, and then I'm going to just line that up along with my with the grid line to make sure it's nice and straight. And from what I can tell, and it is a bit hard because these grid lines are very faint, but from what I can tell, that's pretty straight. All right, so I'll just make sure that stays on there. Then I will get my grey granite and just make sure it's right in the corner and just stamp. And I'll go one more time because I want that a little bit darker. And that's the beauty of having the Stamparatus, is you can do that without a hassle. I love that. And I think I'll go one more time and make it extra dark. So you can use the Stamparatus or your Misty or Tim Holtz or whatever other stamp platform you may own, and you'll get the same results. So I just love that. So that's it close up, and we'll keep that to the side and let that dry. Just close up my ink pad, and I'll just clean that and get rid of that. Okay, now with this piece of cardstock, that's the layering piece that goes on top of the card base, I'm going to stamp the Healing Hug image there. And I'm going to use the flower and this leaf as well as that image there, if you can see that. So I'll be using these three. So I'll just pop that underneath. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my strip of grey granite there, and I'm going to just do a rough placement of the flower that I would like to feature there, just there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that in crushed curry. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to stamp off once. So I've just got a piece of scrap paper that I use. Just stamp that off like that. And then I'm going to stamp that on there. Okay. And that's, I wanted it subtle, so that worked out well. Then I'm going to clean that off and the stamp as well, because I don't want to get ink in places I don't want there to be ink. Put that back in there, and then I'll put my grey granite piece there. And then I'm going to place the stamp again where I'd like it to be, and that would probably be around, let's see, around here, I'd say, because I'm going to leave some room for the leaves. So I'll put that over there, get rid of that. Then I will ink that up with crushed curry again, pop my piece of paper there, and just stamp off, get rid of the bulk of the ink and stamp on. And that looks absolutely beautiful. I love that so far. So put that stamp pad away, and then I'll put this away. Just wipe off the excess ink. And then I'm going to bring my leaves And I'm just going to work out now exactly where I would like them. So I'll bring back that piece again just for placement. And for this, I'm going to grab a misty corner. Just hold on 1 second. I'll just grab this. Stampin' Up does not sell this, but I think these are very handy. I got the Misty Creative Corners. I do own the Misty, as you're aware, and I have done a video on this. This is prior to Stampin' Up releasing the Stamparatus. And I love the corners. I think they're quite innovative. So this is what they come with. And I'm going to use the corner because this will allow me to stamp in the corner and make sure perfect placement without impeding on my stamps. So I'll just pop that there, and that way I can stamp off my page. So yeah, so I'll just have a quick placement here of where I would like it. Pop that on there, take this off, and then I'm going to get my grey granite, and this allows you to have another corner and you can stamp off. That's why I love. Sometimes, as I said yesterday too, sometimes there are things that Stampin' Up doesn't sell, and that's cool, you know, but that's not going to stop you from looking at other brands of product that can complement what you own and enhance your stamping. So I'm a big fan of that, and I'm not going to begrudge anyone that likes to do that kind of thing. I think that's perfectly fine. So yeah, that's just me. Oops. So I'll just clean that stamp, clean off that area, and then I'll take that off. Put this back in the corner again because I don't need that there anymore. And then I'm going to add the stamp, sorry, where will I add it? About here. Hopefully it won't overlap. Just double check. Yeah, it should be okay. And I'll stamp that in grey granite again. Stamp off. And then I'll stamp that on as well. And that turned out really beautiful. I love that. So with that on there, that turns out lovely. Isn't that gorgeous? Alrighty, so clean that off. I'm going to leave the grey granite open because I'm now going to incorporate that other image that I also had on the tag. So, and that's this one over here. So I'll grab that now off my again, I'll bring back my misty corner. Oops. I'm just going to have that, let's see now. Don't need it actually. That's funny. Alright, let me see now. If I need it, I'll bring it back. Alright, so okay. I'm going to ink that up and I will stamp that off as well. Stamp that off. Then I'm going to clean that off again. And I'm going to put one down here. And I'll just bring back that strip again just to be sure that the placement will be good. Yeah, just about there, I'd say. I'll ink that up. And and I did that full strength because I forgot to stamp off, but never mind, I think it'll be okay. And then I'm going to do one more, I think, and I'll do that down here. Okay, so that's going to be fine, and I'll remember to stamp off this time, and then I'll do it this way. See, it's just, you know, just go with whatever makes you feel happy. And I'm just going to ink up the top half of that stamp, and I'll stamp off again, and I'll do that again. And so now that has stamped. See that? It's absolutely beautiful. All right. So I've still got my grey granite out, and will continue to using it because I'm going to add another, just a scrap piece of Whisper white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp that again. And I'm going to stamp that. Then I'm going to stamp it off again. And like that. And then I'm going to ink that up again. And then this time I'm going to grab my tissue, and I'm just going to just wipe off areas that I feel it's too much, like that, just blub, and then stamp on again, and that gives you a nice gradiated look. I love that, and it looks like it's got shading, so that's a great way of adding dimension and depth to your images. And the Stamparatus or any of the, you know, stamping tools you may have make this super easy. So this is really good. All right, so I'll just grab now my rose, and I'll do that again, my flower. And I'm going to use crushed curry. I'm going to stamp that off again. Stamp on. Okay, beautiful. I love this flower. I'm obsessed with it at the moment. And we keep that on. We don't move that stamp at all. Make sure this is right, buttered right into the corner. Then I'm going to get my Mango Melody ink pad, and I'm just going to ink it up in full. And again, I'm going to grab my tissue, and I'm going to wipe off certain areas. And it can be any way you like. I'm leaving some along the edges and a little bit in the middle, and I'll just mute it up a little bit because it is quite an intense colour. So I'll just make it look like it's got some shading in a contrasting colour. Well, it's not really contrasting, but it's slightly darker. Okay. And wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Alrighty, so we are done now with our stamping. So we did everything in one hit, and I love having the Stamparatus for this. This is a fabulous, fabulous tool. Any of those tools are fabulous, so you continue using whatever you may have, but I just love that even with Stampin' Up product, everything works all together, so I just love that. I'll pop this away so it's out of the way. Alrighty. So, we will bring back our card base and our front panel, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to run this all through with the subtle embossing folder. Everything's going to go through except for this, but everything else is going to be run through. So, I'll just put that over there. I want there to be continuity, and I think that's nice when you coordinate things for it to have continuity. Alright, so I'll get my big shot, get my platform, I'll pop this on here, get my cutting plate, and I'll run that through. And let's see how this turned out. Oh, just beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. All right, I'll grab my thank you sentiment as well. I'll make sure I line that up straight. Okay, and I'll pop this through as well. And let's see how that turned out. That turned out beautiful as well. Look at that. And on top, it just looks, oh, just stunning. It adds so much texture. I just love that. Okay, then we're going to grab our card base and we're going to do the same. So everything's going to be put through. So I'm going to pop that through. Just line that up in the embossing folder. I'll put it this way. Put the cutting plate on top. And we're going to do the entire card base with the subtle embossing folder. As I said, I am obsessed with this thing. I use it on everything. And in this card, I don't think it's too much. To be honest, I think it's wonderful. That's my opinion, but I just love it. All right. And I think I will run it underneath as well, just for continuity. Just make sure it runs beautifully. Okay, centered that, do it again. And now the entire card base has been texturized. I love, 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 love this embossing folder. Okay, I'll pop all the bits and pieces from the Big Shot away. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stick this on here, and I'll get some glue and I'll just put it on the edges. And I'll just center that where I'd like it. Okay, looks lovely. And then I'm just going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut that off. And there we have the card base all sorted. I'll trim this bit off too. There's a bit here that's sort of just peeking past. Make sure it's nice and sharp. Okay, I love this. Look at that, gorgeous. I'll bring my card base and I'm going to attach that onto my card base there. So again, I'll just put glue right on along the edges. And I like using liquid glue. That's a bit too much there. Don't want to show any glue marks. And we'll just center it onto the card. There's a little bit of glue that's seeping through, so I'll just give that a wipe with my tissue. And that is just beautiful already. I love it. Okay, so I'll put this to the side and let that dry. I'll just hold it down for a couple of seconds just to make sure that it just adheres on a little. And we're going to do some fussy cutting. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this off. Okay, and we'll just fussy cut this flower. Actually, I'll try and be as close as possible this time, rather than leaving a white edge. And yeah, with this image, like, it's easy to cut, and even if you're not precise, it doesn't matter, because it's not a flower that's straight edged or anything like that. It has a lot of movement in there, so if you make a mistake, it really won't show up. Sorry about the noise. I think there's a drill or something outside. We've got a building that's being demolished, and that's across the road from us. So, yeah, we tend to hear this kind of stuff for a while. Not looking forward to it. They only just finished demolishing it, and then they're doing other remediation works on the site. So it's a bit of a pain, noise-wise, but luckily it's only during the day, not so much in the evenings. It's nice and quiet. So I'll continue to fussy cut this. And I wanted this flower to stand out a bit more than the one on the card base, which is quite muted, because I want there to be a standout flower. And the same goes with the leaves. I wanted the leaves to be a little bit more intense than on the actual card itself, on the base. So see how that goes. Okay, cut as close as possible and cut that bit off that I didn't cut off before. Okay, so that flower is now all done. So I'm going to pop that flower here. Yeah, it's like so. And then I'm going to cut the leaves. And luckily these don't take long to cut. Hopefully I didn't overdo the texturing of everything, but I think it looks beautiful and it goes with the tag. So I thought, you know, continuity is very important. So I'll continue on. We're nearly done. So luckily this is not going to take much longer. And we are done. Yay! Alrighty. So now just going to position my flower. And I might do that this way, I'm not sure, just... Yeah, I think that works, or should I put it towards the bottom? And I'll see where else this will go as well. No, this goes well this way. Maybe I should have moved the thank you a little bit more that way, but this looks good there. And with this, I'll put it down there, I think. That looks great. All right, so I'll just put some glue just down the bottom with the flower. I'll make sure that I position that correctly. And I'm going to pop that on there. Oops. Yep, there. And then I'm going to stick this up on some dimensionals. So I'll just grab those. Okay. Love the dimensionals. They provide just the right height without it being too much dimension. Okay, and then I'll pop that over here. Don't remember how I had it. Yeah, there. And that's my card. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, I'll just grab an inside panel. So just bear with me for 1 second. I might have to trim it down. Yep. Okay, so I've got a scrap piece here. And I'm going to use that. So I'll just bring in my stamping trimmer. And I'll just give that a bit of a trim. There. And down the bottom, so I'm going to bring my scrap piece of paper. Oh no, yes, no, because I didn't use, that's right, I didn't use blocks, I used the Stamparatus, so take all this off. Forgot about the inside part, and I'm going to use my corner, Misty Corners Creative Corner, so I can stamp down the bottom here, just to make it different from the outside by a little bit. So I'll just grab my stamp and stamp that down here. Get it face up like that. And by the way, the Misty Creative Corners work very well in the Stamparatus too, in case you're wondering. They work absolutely fine. And in fact, I could have used another part of the Misty as well. They have this like an L-shaped, like a ruler. You can use that as well to line up your sentiments as well. So I thought that was pretty neat. All right, so I'll just now stamp off. I'll make this one subtle on the inside and do that. I think that looks really pretty. And clean that off. Clean that too, so I don't make a mess on my project. And then I'm going to stamp this as well, the leaves. Put that away later. So with the leaves, I'll stamp them down here. Again, just make sure that I line that up nicely. Ink that up in grey granite, and I will stamp off as well. Stamp off, make sure that's right in the corner of the Misty corner there, and stamp on, and there we have our little reference to our leaves. Even though it's not a big reference, it doesn't matter, it actually coordinates very nicely. So I'll pop all of my stuff away. This is magnetized, so it's a bit hard to get it off. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, if you own the Tim Holtz stamp platform as well, the Misty Corners work very well in that too, just in case you're wondering. All right, so, okay, I'll pop this away so I don't lose my stuff, because I tend to lose things. And yeah, when I'm in a creative frenzy, I kind of forget things. Didn't end up using the black cord, but I don't think it really needs it. So I'll just now, I won't texturize this part so I can write in it, but I will stick this down. So I'll just put some glue right on the edge. Okay, and then I'll stick that down. To center it on the inside panel. And our beautifully texturized, and I'll just give this a little press just to make sure it's nice and pressed down so it's easy to open and close. So there's the card. There we go. See that? And that's the inside. And it's a lovely texturized card. It looks like it's from Basil, that cardstock Basil, that textured cardstock. And I love that cardstock. So this turned out really nice. And it complements this tag very nicely. So you can make a really nice gift set. So I'll show that to you close up. Okay. Turned out really nice. Okay, and that's the inside. Okay. And then we have the tag that matches the card. So I'll show you the tag up close as well. And I think that turned out just brilliant. I love it. So all of these products can be purchased now through my online store at pepperlyrose.stampinup.net. I would really appreciate your business if you don't have a demonstrator in Australia. And I would love to be your demonstrator. If you don't have a demonstrator and you want to get a copy of the holiday catalogue, you may do so through me with your order. All right, guys, so have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. See you later. Bye.